How has Devin Vassell been looking like for the start of this season? And Sochan and point guard?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Spurs have been playing those late games. I know. They're brutal on you just as they are on me because, staying up late for your silver and black. Well, if you diehards out there about it, then I salute you. What are we talking about today? We're going to put into spotlight Devin Vassell. Look at his development so far in this early season. What do we like? What does the eye tell us? What do the numbers tell us? And more. And also, Sochan at point guard. Yeah, Pop played with that versus the Warriors. Is this something that he should continue to do as the season goes on? And we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. So let's go ahead and bring in our guest. He is back, everybody. Casey Viera, my colleague at Kens 5 San Antonio. And I commend you with your patience because we had some tech issues starting this episode. So thank you, Casey, for exercising some patience. And yes, I paid the bill, Casey. I paid my internet bill. It just went out on.
That was my last question. I was like, man, what kind of raggedy operation you running over there? Knowing that Jeff Garcia, Kens 5, taking a paycheck you got coming through for Locked On. Can't even keep the damn internet running. Look at this guy.
Well, here's the thing, everybody. Going? We were like just a hair away from starting to record this episode. Blanks out. I call Casey. I go, Casey, we may have to do this on the phone. Casey's a trooper. He's like, whatever we got to do to get this done. I was dilly-dallying on purpose, Casey, hoping that the internet will pop up again. And it did. So, yay. I do pay my bill, everybody. I promise you.
Show must go on.
The show must go on. Well, speaking of that, let's go ahead and dive into it. Oh, by the way, everybody, make sure to follow Casey on Twitter at Casey_Viera. And we'll talk about what he's doing over at Kens 5 later on the show. So, Devin Vassell. A lot of people were looking at him as one player that could really take a step forward in his development. And if this season is about development, it looks like he is well on the path of getting better. Casey, what is the eye test telling you about Vassell's play in this early start of the season?
It tells me that he's very confident right now, knowing that management, his coaching staff have given him the green light to go out and try to put the ball in the basket. A lot of the stuff that we saw last year were not really opportunities that presented itself. But this year, somebody's got to go out there and shoot the basketball just by default. And he's been given that assignment. And he's looked large. I know the Warriors game wasn't exactly an immaculate performance, an earth-shattering one, but largely he looks confident. And even on the nights that he's off, it's not like one of those deals where I feel like, he misses 5 of his first 6 of his first 8, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just kind of deters. No, he's getting the green light. He's still firing away. I got to give him credit for that. Yeah.
I like how he has shown that he can rebound off bad nights. We saw that in Charlotte. When the Spurs hosted Charlotte to start the game. How he just, after that, just went nuts, just string of games, just double figure scoring, doing it all for San Antonio. And yeah, he was out for a few games. You look at that Warriors game, did not have the best shooting night at all. But nevertheless, he's shown that he, at least in one instance, that he can definitely rally coming off a bad play. And I like that. That's, for me, a sign of growth, development. And just kind of like they say, shake off those losses. In the NBA, you can't dwell on losses because it's fast and furious. And he's going to have to do that moving forward. Do you think, based on what you've seen so far early this season, Casey, that he could be a go-to player for the Spurs? Let's say crunch time situation, if they're going to go for the win, put the ball in his hands, or you still think, no, the ball maybe should go to Keldon or heck, Trey Jones?
Well, I mean, to a certain degree, it's by default, but the other sense, it's already been that way. And we had the miss at the buzzer in overtime against Memphis, I guess, a week ago now. They're already, I think they're already giving him to do that, him and Keldon, giving them the green light to acts accordingly when said situation really presents itself. And I think that's also a testament to the job that he's done to get him where he's at right now. So yeah, I think that's the type of thing that's going to stick. One, by default, but two, I mean, they like his aggressiveness right now, and it's hard not to.
Yeah, and even when he missed that shot afterwards, you could see that he was still dwelling on it. He was all smiles, he was laughing, he was in a good mood. He wasn't flipping tables because he missed the shot, but again, he shows that maturity front and center when he laughed it off. He said, "Hey," he goes, "It's bothering me right now." You could see because his body language, he was grabbing his arms, he was kind of rocking back in his seat, and he kept on saying, he goes, "I had a clear shot, I had a clear look, and it just didn't go down." It was bothering him, and he said, "Don't worry, I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna go back in the gym. I'm gonna work on it." So I like to see that from him, and it's funny you see him, laughing off a loss, but a lot of these losses this year, Casey, not many people are too upset with it. Maybe Pop once in a while versus the Warriors, he called the team soft, but for the most part, this team is like, it is what it is. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, largely they have been competitive in just about every game this season. The season opener was a dud. They had the one game in Denver. The last night I guess 2 nights ago now, at Golden State.
Right.
But really, aside from that, they've competed in every game this season, and not really much more you could ask for on that front. If you're going to lose, just go out there and hustle and compete, and they're doing that. They're doing that.
Yeah. And Devin is definitely doing that as well. He's leading the charge. Yeah. He's emerging as a nice two-way player for the Spurs as he develops. And I think the team might have a piece they can help build around should they net a franchise type player. Whatever that franchise type player it is, whether it be Wemby or Scoot or in free agency, that player would do well having Vassell at his side. I don't think he's franchise. I don't think he'll elevate to that level. And he says it himself, not to himself or about himself, but he said it before. You've been in those post-game conferences out the AT&T where Vassell says, "Hey, we know we don't have that guy. We don't have a Kevin Durant." So in a way, he's saying that I'm not that guy either, but yet he's putting up some pretty good numbers nonetheless, Casey.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of been like a recurring, I don't want to say mantra, but certainly acknowledgement, because Keldon has also referenced that general idea as well. Yeah. But very much so with these guys saying not the guy. Well, not every guy is going to be the guy, but not every guy is going to be trusted to do things in crunch time. Right. I think that expression is a little bit more applicable to the other 46 of the 48 minutes that are going on. You're going to move the ball around, find the open man, do the little things to compete in these games. But you probably feel more confident in Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson to go get you a basket inside 90 seconds to go in a 2-point game than you are Trey Jones, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Trey Jones, as well as he's playing, he doesn't have that size as KJ and Vassell do to, cause real havoc in the paint.
Right.
Really, post somebody up they have to, But I mean, not to say Trey Jones not having a great season. He is.
I was going to say,
phenomenal
that's
season.
Not as much of an indictment on Trey Jones as it is just kind of basketball in general. You play, you get so far in the game and you need somebody to go out there close and at least try to close. And that's not what I would say 13 of the 15 guys are assigned to do. That's assigned to Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell.
Absolutely. When we get back, we're going to look at some of the numbers. I'm going to throw some stats at Casey's way about Devin Vassell and get his reaction to that and much, much more. This episode of Locked On Spurs. This episode is brought to you by Turo. Turo is the largest car sharing marketplace. With Turo, you can book any car you want, wherever you want it, from a community of local hosts. You can browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget, across the US, the UK, Canada, and coming soon, Australia. You can book a spacious SUV or a minivan for a family road trip. Get a luxury or classic car for any special event, birthday, or holiday. Find affordable economy cars if you're on a budget and just need to get from A to B. Test drive that new electric vehicle that you've had your eye on. See how it fits your everyday life. Many Turo hosts can even deliver the car right to you. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms and conditions and exclusions apply. Forget boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo.com. And I also want to talk to you about Built Bar. Okay, can we pause this podcast for a second? Okay, we're paused. Okay, good. Because you got to try this. I'm talking about Built Bar's new reimagined flavors. Cookie dough topper, coconut brownie bar, coconut brownie topper. They got it all. White chocolate, peppermint, granola. It's Built's take on the granola bar, so it's more filling and still insanely tasty. And candy cane brownie, puff, Built Puffs. They're all like biting into the universe's most delicious cloud. They're very, very good. I highly recommend them. First of all, for anyone who hasn't tried Built bars before, they're literally the best tasting protein bars ever built. They're revolutionizing nutrition as we knew it with 100% real chocolate, 17 grams of protein, and shockingly low calories and sugar, just 130 calories. That's it. Just sink your teeth into the first bite and it'll change your life forever. I'm not kidding. There will always be time for you to try these new Built flavors. And the magical, wonderful times afterwards, you're probably wondering which of the new flavors are my favorite. I'm telling you right now, they all are. They're unbelievable and they're all different. So you can order a mixed box and try all of the flavors for yourself. Built, you got to try this. Get 15% off your order right now by using promo code LOCK15 at Built.com. We're back with Casey Viera right here on Locked On Spurs, talking about Devin Vassell and Jeremy Sochan and point guard. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a few seconds. Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, wherever we get podcasts. So let's look at some of the numbers here, Casey. And right off the bat, it's obvious he's having a career season. You know, his minutes per game are up 30.9. His field goal percentage is about 46%. His three-point percentage has really skyrocketed. He went from 36 last year, Casey, to currently at 41% shooting, points 19.5, almost a 20-point per game guy. And even assists 3.5. He's getting people involved. Of all those stats, which one stands out for you the most?
Can I say collectively all of it?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. I mean, say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say collectively all of it because I did not, while I expected the numbers to go on an uptick this year, I didn't think collectively all of it, the production levels, especially the points per game part of it, would be at the level it's at. Maybe that's shame on me for forgetting that he's one of the more tenured, I say in quotes, guys on this team in terms of getting minutes consistently to not, at least by default, get those opportunities. But I'd be lying to you if I said that taking advantage of the opportunities and scoring the ball the way that he has and creating his own shots the way that he has. I mean, largely we didn't really see that in the first couple of years here, but now we are.
Yeah.
And he's done a good job of it. He's done a real good job of it. So I think collectively all the way around, it's been a nice surprise.
For me, if I had to pick one, is the three-point shooting. I mean, that, and especially in today's era of the NBA, that is so key for San Antonio. Popovich has said that all players from Sochan to Vassell, everybody, Jones, they all got the green light to shoot the three. And Vassell's definitely taking advantage of that. Again, 41% from beyond the arc. He's attempted 73. He's made 30. So, you know, he's chalking them up. So he's getting them up. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Now, obviously, there's some hits to his numbers because he's seen a spike in minutes. I think his shooting has gone down a bit from last season and all. But nevertheless, the point is that he is becoming a nice 1-2 punch combo with Keldon Johnson. Now he's hovering around just a shade under 20, about 19.6.5. Do you think he will get to the 20 point per game point at some time during the season, or you think he's gonna stay around that 19, 18 point per game?
No, I think he'll get it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right there. He's right there anyway.
Yeah,
I think he'll probably
right.
end the year with 20 a game. I do.
Yeah.
I think both he and Keldon are going to end the year at 20 plus a game. Not only is it by default, but even though it's by default, they're actually doing a good job of putting the ball in the hoop. And they're doing a good job. They're worth they're worth getting the opportunities that they're being given right now. And barring injury, I don't think there's gonna. I think at minimum what you're seeing right now from Vassell is what you're going to get the rest of the year, and that's a near 20 point plus per game score. And I have no reason to believe at this point that that'll fall off from now until then. Yeah, I mean, he'll hit ruts. He'll hit ruts, and inevitably the book will be out on him a little bit more. But collectively, I don't think that falls off. The efficiency numbers, maybe they fall off.
Right.
Maybe that. Well, would you say the overall field goal percentage is at right now? Do you still have that?
Yeah, his overall. Yeah, I got that. Give me 2 seconds here. His overall field goal percentage is at currently 45, so about 46%.
I mean, I could see that dipping down to like 42 by the end of the year, but he's going to be a volume scorer.
He is.
If it's a matter of a volume scorer, if he's going to be a volume scorer, it doesn't really matter what the field goal percentage is, as it pertains to as it pertains to you asking if he's going to top 20 a game. But I think he will. Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah, and one other thing, part of his game that is not getting a lot of attention right now is his mid-range game. It's really come on. You're looking at his numbers here, his field goal by distance. If he's between 10 to 16 feet near the rim and he's taking the shot, he's shooting 53%. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And that's showing a little more diversification of his game. And it just feels like coming from last year to this year, the blueprint was there. We knew that he could do a little bit of everything on both ends of the court, defensively and offensively. It just feels like more of a natural progression in his development. He's not doing one thing dominant like Keldon. Remember what was Keldon? Oh my God, his 3-point percent shooting is off the charts. It continues doing that way. It just feels like there's just been this steady incline and increase of his numbers, Casey.
And to many respects, I mean, it might just be better that he's kind of doing it quietly,
Yeah.
In many respects, that probably is the better way of seeing this progression moving forward for him. It's kind of one of those deals, and you see it with Keldon right now. It is just the level of confidence that they have, the two of them, knowing that they've been given the green light to do what they do. You see it in the body language. You see it. They every time that ball leaves their hands, their body language says that ball is going in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to how well the two of them have really grown this season. I figured this would be a little bit more prevalent with Keldon, but certainly not with Vassell. And I think that's kind of a testament to what he's done. You mentioned the mid-range game. That's been, you asked me the most surprising part. I think that's probably been the most surprising part.
Really? Why is that?
Because so much of these young scorers, when they're putting the points in the basket, it's stand in the corner, shoot the three. It's not creating. How many times this season have we seen him just slowly, methodically work around the screen, get just a little bit of space, and free throw line extended? There he is. He's got a jumper. And we didn't really see that a whole lot. It was just very much a lot of spot up stuff and sprinkled in here and there. I would, maybe upon further diving next go around, we can figure kind of that mid-range efficiency, all those stats that you dig deep for. But it seems, maybe I sold sold him short a bit going into this season. Maybe that's, again, shame on me for doing that. But I feel like that's another part of it right now that we didn't see, that ability to create inside the 3-point line, and that 10 to 16, 18 feet extended. He's done a really nice job of that. And I think that's part of the reason for why it's going to stick with the volume now that he's getting more volume, because probably he's the best on the team to probably do that right now.
Yeah,
he's probably better, I think, Keldon, at doing that, I would say.
Right. I was about to say that Keldon, obviously he's a really good 3-point shooter. He's tackled that obstacle in his career, and he's just owned it. And we know I'm more shocked when he doesn't make it, when they don't fall in, versus when they miss. Versus when he makes it. But Devin just a little bit more versatile. Keldon still tends to lean towards just ramming his way to the rim. We see that a lot, and that's where he gets a lot of his and ones and his numbers from the paint. But Devin's the numbers show he spreads it out a bit on the offensive end, and defensively he's just a monster as well, playing passing lanes, rebounding well, getting the break going. We're seeing him sometimes lead the charge on the break, running with facilitating, and with numbers show at 3.6 assists per game. So he's getting it all done. The numbers are definitely smiling on Devin Vassell. When we get back, we're going to look at Jeremy Sochan and wonder if this is going to be something that Pop's going to continue to do. And is Sochan the backup point guard to Tre Jones? We'll talk about that and much, much more on this episode of Locked On Spurs. Hang on, Casey. But I want to talk to you about Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer, esports. They got it all over at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those as well at BetOnline. They're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. You want to go to betonline.net right now. They got a lot of numbers out. Check out how the Spurs are doing when it comes to Vegas numbers, from Rookie of the Year odds to championship odds. Yes, believe it or not, the Spurs championship odds have gotten better. Not great, but they've gotten better. Maybe Pop wants to go and place a bet over at betonline.net if he wants to take those odds as well. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more over at BetOnline. It's where the game starts. We're back with Casey Viera right here on Locked On Spurs. We're talking about your silver and black. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Viera. So, Casey, we saw something very interesting versus the Warriors. Down, Tre Jones out for the game. We know the Primo situation no longer with the Spurs. Blake Wesley has an injury. He's out for a few more weeks. So they needed somebody to run the point, and they went to the rookie Sochan. What do you think about this? Is this something the Spurs should tinker with this season moving forward?
Well, if they might not have a choice by the sound of it, given the situation. It was already a dire point guard situation, but when I saw that headline yesterday, I was like, man, this season all about rebuilding, huh? Experimenting with things. Here we go. I know part of the idea, well, not part, majority of the idea, at least from the outside looking in, to see Jeremy Sochan operate as your point guard is far-fetched. But I know there were a couple of instances, and I'm not going to make myself sound like some Baylor aficionado because I'm not, but I know there were a few instances last year where Coach Drew over there used him as a 0.4/0.5 almost. And who am I to say, but I would have to imagine that'd be part of the reason that he kind of snuck his way from someone who was fringe first round pick to a top 10 guy, is when teams got glimpses of this dude coming off the bench and giving them the minutes that he did, and doing it essentially with the ball in his hands as a facilitator. I think that's when people try to rationalize Sochan pick to some of the skeptics, they say, "Oh, you're looking at a 3-and-D Rodman type." When on the reality, well, I don't want to say the reality, but the people, the pro Sochan side, are saying, "Oh, you know what? There might be a little Sean Marion in there."
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are scenarios like that, which certainly fuel that narrative a little bit more. But it's almost kind of, while it wasn't exactly the most immaculate piece of basketball, it certainly begs the question of why should you not do it more, especially with Wesley. With Wesley out, so who knows how long when. Obviously, Trey will be back, but in certain minutes, if it presents itself, I don't think it should be something that they dip away from.
No, I agree with you, and they're definitely not moving away from it. And I would not be surprised if it pops up again. After the loss to the Warriors, Sochan was asked about running the point, and he says, quote, "I think we've been talking about it for a while. I've been running point in practice. I think, it's always going to be a learning process. I think it comes naturally to me to see the court." So he says he's down, and the Spurs are definitely toying with the idea of letting him run the point. And as you mentioned, body-wise, they need the help, unless they do a call-up from the G League, one of the guys out there. We got Malachi, who's also hurt. I thought he would be the de facto a backup with Wesley out, but he's dealing with the left ankle sprain. So he's, no timetable when he can return. So yeah, they had no choice versus the Warriors, but I would not mind it. Look, if it's like you mentioned, if it's development, go for it. You can add another dimension to Sochan's all-around game, running the point. Sure, let's do it. It's not uncommon. Remember back in the day, point forwards, your Knicks? Was it Anthony Mason? Point forward for the Knicks there, Casey?
I would trust Sochan's athleticism a little more than Anthony Mason's. Anthony Mason more so. Yeah.
Was that Don Nelson's call when he was coach? Was he the coach of the Knicks at that time? Or was that Pat Riley?
Right. It was Nelson might have crossed paths with him, but that was predominantly Riley. Yeah.
Riley. Yeah.
At that window, I'd have to imagine that was more Don Nelson.
Yeah, that was Don Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not look, it's positionless basketball. A lot of players have the ability to bring up the ball. Wembanyama can, and how big is he? So not
very
strange.
Very,
very, very. By the way, did you see that recent video of him crossing up a defender, launch, and then going to the rim for an and one? Yes, a 7'5" guy.
Yeah. There have been so many, dude. I've lost track. I get the idea. He is the actual, not no store brand unicorn like Porzingis. This is the actual unicorn.
Yeah, they actually found a unicorn. Yeah, they found him, and he's in France right now.
They did. He's a French unicorn.
He's a French unicorn. Yeah, exactly. I think there's a pastry called French unicorn. Maybe there is. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Spurs should continue doing this. Why not? Sure. Player development is on the to-do list this season in what it should be a down season for the Spurs. So might as well make the most of it and get Sochan that time running the point. Could only do well for the Spurs should they ever need him to do that. Hey, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Devin Vassell's play to start this new season? Is he showing development? Do you like where his progress is going? And what do you think about Jeremy Sochan running the point guard? You like the idea? Let us know. Casey, tell them how they can chat with you and what's going on at Ken's 5.
Follow me on Twitter, as you've plugged already, at Casey_Viera. And what is going on at Ken's 5? Coming down the home stretch of high school football. That's good. We're in playoff time. Yeah, we're in playoff season. That makes our life easier. That's for sure. Because not only are there fewer games that we have to shoot, there are fewer games in general because half of our teams are all across the state. So some of these nights when we're going out, we're shooting 8 games amongst
brutal.
The 6 of us or so. Now we're getting 2. And that's not bad. And we're getting affiliates sending them here and there. So I can't complain. Plus, San Antonio's football teams are actually pretty good, man.
Yeah?
We'll find out. I mean, we might have a Cibolo Steel run. The Knights going on something special right now. If I had to make a pick of a team that's going to do something. But we shall find out.
By the way, shout out to the new USL champions, the San
Yeah.
Antonio FC.
Yeah.
There's a river parade, a championship river parade coming to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
Kudos to them. Yeah, a lot of the Spurs support them. You know, Trey Jones is a really big supporter. He's there a lot. Devin Vassell goes out there too. I'm surprised Josh Richardson, and obviously it's too late now, the season's over, but I think he went a couple of times. He's a big soccer fan.
Is he?
Richardson. Yeah, he is. He loves soccer. That's how he and Sochan bonded in one of their first training camps, is over soccer.
Really?
Because Sochan showed up in a kit, some EuroLeague kit, and Richardson saw it, and they started talking about it. So, interesting. Yeah, exactly. So, shout out San Antonio FC. Congratulations on the championship right here from your friends over here at Locked On Spurs. So, for Casey Viera. Oh, by the way, yeah, everybody, hey, check out Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. The list goes on. And on the Kens 5 Plus app and the YouTube page. And we thank you for making it your first listen each and every day. Second listen, Locked On Sports Today podcast. Biggest stories of the day in sports, instant reactions, recaps, take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. So for Casey Viera, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.